Coming up today, South Korea dismisses Kim Jong-un's claims that North Korea can make nuclear warheads small enough to mount on missiles. South Korea's presidential office confirms that North Korea tried to hack into smartphones belonging to top South Korean officials. South Korea is on alert for more cyber attacks. First, Google's AlphaGo software beats the human world champion of Go in the very first round. Man and machine will play their next match in Seoul this afternoon. Stay tuned for these stories and more. Hello to our viewers around the world. It's 6 a.m. on Thursday, March 10th here in Seoul. Thank you for joining us. I'm Mark Broom. And we start with the latest on the simmering tension on the Korean peninsula. North Korea is continuing to defy the international community by making fresh nuclear threats. It has released a photo of what it says is a miniaturized nuclear warhead, claiming it was successfully placed on top of a ballistic missile. Seoul, however, doesn't buy Pyongyang's claims, given the level of technological capability required to do something so complex. Connie Kim starts us off.
Has North Korea succeeded in miniaturizing a nuclear warhead to fit on a ballistic missile? North Korea's official Korean Central News Agency on Wednesday quoted leader Kim Jong-un as saying it has. Pyongyang has made the same claim in the past, but this is the first time its leader has been quoted directly. It's also the first time the North has released a picture of the warhead, with an image of the purported device appearing in the North's daily 노동신문 the same day. Shaped like a silver sphere, it's estimated to be about a meter in diameter. The Daily also released photos of the North's KN-08 intercontinental ballistic missile prior to completion. South Korea on Wednesday expressed doubt over the North's claim.
South Korea believes North Korea does not possess a miniaturized nuclear warhead, nor the capability to field a KN-08. South Korea and U.S. intelligence officials are tracking the issue.
However, North Korea experts are keeping an eye on the progress Pyongyang may have made in its miniaturization capability.
Looking at the history of North Korea's nuclear weapons development program, I believe North Korea's success in miniaturizing a nuclear warhead is imminent. The regime looks like it will be able to mount a nuclear warhead on medium or large missiles.
If the regime has succeeded, Seoul and Washington will need to revise their operation plan, which is designed to detect, disrupt, destroy, and defend the peninsula against North Korea's long-range ballistic missiles. Connie Kim, Arirang News.
Well, as a follow-up to that report, the United States has also dismissed North Korea's claims that it has made miniature nuclear warheads to fit on top of its ballistic missiles. The Pentagon says Pyongyang's claims are unproven, but added that the U.S. takes threats out of North Korea seriously and is always preparing for the worst. A Pentagon spokesman said Wednesday that Washington's assessment on North Korea's nuclear and missile capabilities remains unchanged. He added that the United States maintains a range of missile defense capabilities to counter North Korea's ballistic missile threats. China has voiced its disapproval over South Korea's unilateral sanctions on North Korea, saying such punitive measures do not provide a way to solve the issue of Pyongyang's provocations. Beijing's foreign ministry added that the sanctions should not harm China's legitimate interests. Seoul this week imposed new sanctions on 40 individuals and 30 entities linked to North Korea's nuclear and missile development programs. The measures also ban vessels entering South Korean waters within 6 months of visiting North Korea. South Korea also suspended a trilateral project comprising both Korea's and Russia. The so-called Najin-Hasan project was supposed to bring Russian coal to the south via the North Korean port city of Najin. Russia says it's carefully analyzing South Korea's decision and is refraining from making comments on the matter. South Korea's presidential office has confirmed that North Korea recently attempted to hack into smartphones belonging to some of South Korea's most senior government officials. President Park Geun-hye on Wednesday called for full countermeasures against Pyongyang's increasing cyber threats. She also ordered relevant parties to be on full alert for any additional cyber attacks. Song Ji-sun reports.
In a statement to the nation delivered by her spokesperson, President Park Geun-hye said that North Korea's recent act of tapping into smartphones of senior South Korean officials in charge of national security is another type of provocation following its nuclear test and missile launch. After an emergency meeting on Tuesday, Seoul's intelligence agency confirmed that Pyongyang has attempted to hack into smartphones of key South Korean defense officials as well as diplomats. Among their 50-some targets, the regime succeeded in tapping into conversations and text messages of 10 phones. According to the intel agency, high-profile targets were South Korea's National Security Council Chief Kim Kwan-jin, Foreign Minister Yoon Byung-se, and Defense Minister Han Min-gu, but none of them were hacked. President Park asked all relevant parties to be on full alert and rev up preventive measures against additional cyber attacks, which he said could lead to a nationwide chaos.
Our society could fall into a severe chaos, possibly leading to massive casualties and financial losses. All organizations and individuals must pay extra attention to counter such possibility.
Creating thousands of zombie PCs by planting malicious codes, North Korea has been beefing up its cyber army over the past years, carrying out large-scale cyber attacks on South Korea's banking system and major broadcasters in 2011 and 2013. Following the recent passage of a counterterrorism bill at the National Assembly, President Park has been continuously urging lawmakers to also pass the bill on anti-cyber terrorism to better equip the nation against such threats coming from the north and elsewhere. Song Ji-sun, Arirang News.
Now, South Korea's financial sector is on high alert against a potential large-scale cyber attack by North Korea. On Wednesday, Seoul's financial authorities launched emergency checks at major institutions, and private banks upped their own security measures. Oh Se-young with the details.
South Korea's banking sector is bolstering security measures to safeguard internal networks in the face of potential cyber attacks from North Korea. The South Korean Financial Supervisory Service said Wednesday that it has launched emergency data system checkups across 60 major financial institutions in the country. A group of IT specialists will evaluate whether defensive measures are soundly in place.
Most security breaches are caused by malicious coding, so we need to make sure that antivirus software is up to date and can detect any suspicious IP addresses.
Aside from governmental efforts, private banks have also been enhancing protective measures following the North's nuclear test in January and its rocket launch last month. Most banks have enforced in-house monitoring systems around the clock and installed extra data protection programs in internal networks. With these measures, financial authorities hope to diminish the chances of North Korean hackers infiltrating into their systems.
As of now, online network monitoring, antivirus software updates as well as internal network control are sufficiently being enforced. So rather than implement new measures, it's a matter of ensuring the current system is upheld.
However, the expert added that additional efforts are needed to protect banking information on an individual scale, especially when shopping or transferring money online. Keeping antivirus software updated and avoiding the use of Wi-Fi networks when carrying out bank transactions online are some of the steps recommended by financial security experts. To discuss further countermeasures against possible cyber attacks on the financial system, the country's financial authorities will convene at a meeting on Thursday. Oh Se-young, Arirang News.
Now, Korea's political parties are racing to complete the process of nominating candidates for the upcoming general election that will be held on April 13th. But they're getting tripped up by infighting over the candidate nomination rules. Our political correspondent Ji Myung-gil explains.
The infighting within the Saenuri party can be traced back to a power struggle between those loyal to President Park Geun-hye and those who aren't. Party chair Kim Moo-sung, who is part of the non-Pak faction, wants an open primary where party members and citizens choose the candidates to keep powerful people and factions from dominating the process. Lee Yang-gu, a pro-Pak lawmaker, is using a top-down process in which the party chooses. He is also the chief of the party's nominating committee, and he declared last week that 23 districts, 3 districts within each of the 17 most hotly contested metropolitan cities and provinces around the country will follow a top-down system. The main opposition Minju Party of Korea's nominating committee is also taking a top-down approach. It decided that the bottom 20% of the 127 party members who were elected in 2012 will not be allowed to run this year to make room for fresh faces. That's 25 lawmakers, and of them, 10 have left the party and 5 have declared they aren't running, so only 10 have been disqualified. Still, the decision has already prompted a backlash within the party's rank and file. Minju's philosophical ally, the newly minted People's Party, selected 49 candidates on Wednesday through a combination of party recommendations and public opinion polls. Minju has called for a merger of the two parties, but the People's Party remains divided over the prospect. All 3 parties are also scrambling to woo members of underrepresented groups, including women, young people, and the disabled. People from these groups will get an extra 10 to 25% more points toward their candidate applications. In addition, first-time candidates will get 10 to 20% more points than incumbent lawmakers. Parties will also reserve 10% more of their proportional representative seats for women. Kim Young-gil, Arirang News.
Now, artificial intelligence has beaten a human in the first of 5 matches of the highly complex board game known as Go. AlphaGo, which was developed by Google DeepMind, triumphed over world champion and Go grandmaster Lee Sedol on Wednesday. The win is significant because Go, one of the most complex games to ever be devised, has been extremely difficult for AI systems to understand. Until now, at least. EG1 reports.
After 3 hours and a half, the first round of the long-awaited Go match between Grandmaster Lee Se-dol and Google's AlphaGo ended, with the machine being declared the winner. As Lee Se-dol saw that the game could no longer be turned to his favor, he did not make the 187th move and forfeited instead. The game was a tight competition from the beginning, and AlphaGo even made a number of moves that professional Go players would not normally make. But a critical mistake by Lee Se-dol on the 127th move turned the tables for the machine.
I think the mistake I made earlier led to my defeat. Even when I made the mistake, I didn't think I was going to lose the game. So today's game was a big surprise for me. I didn't expect AlphaGo to play this well.
But it wasn't an easy game for the machine either.
I was sitting in the technical room watching the stats of what AlphaGo was doing and how it was processing the positions, and it was stretched to its limit all the way through the game in terms of every component of AlphaGo being pushed to its maximum, using its value networks, its policy networks, its search. Everything had to come together and was really pushed to its limit.
Both sides thanked each other for the opportunity and expressed their mutual respect for each other.
Huge respect for Lee Sedol and his amazing skills. He's famous for fighting and creative style, and I think that made this game extremely exciting and very tense. So, of course, we're very, very excited about this historic moment, and we're very pleased with how AlphaGo performed.
But it might be too early to say that artificial intelligence has outsmarted human intelligence, as they still have 4 more games to play, giving us all the more reason to wait for Thursday's winner. Lee-ji-won, Arirang News.
Yes, and the second round of that 5-game series is coming up at 1 p.m. today, Korea time. So in slightly over 6.5 hours from now, they will start. Now, in world news, it has emerged that U.S. Special Forces are holding the head of the Islamic State group's unit tasked with trying to develop chemical weapons. Iraqi and U.S. officials say the man, identified as Seliman Daoud al-Afari, was seized in a raid last month in northern Iraq. No further details were released about the circumstances of his capture, though. Sources say al-Fari was once a chemical weapons specialist for former Iraqi leader Saddam Hussein. The New York Times, citing sources in the US, reports that the man has already admitted that ISIS is loading mustard gas into shells. His capture is the first known major success of Washington's more aggressive strategy of pursuing the jihadis on the ground. Well, that's all we have for now. I'm Mark Broom. Thank you as always for watching our newscasts, and we'll be back throughout the day with more news bulletins. So until then, goodbye.